I thought a serving tray with a ceramic tile top would be a fun project to make for the dolls this week. Stay tuned and see how simple and easy this is to do. Alright, so I did some cutting off camera because I needed to do this in the other room. What I have 2 pieces of what I refer to as paperboard, otherwise known as a cereal box, and a piece of foam core. These are all cut 4 inches by 7 inches, and those dimensions will be in the blog post if you don't remember. So now we need to glue these together. And I've got parchment paper on my table to protect my table from the glue now and from the paint in a little bit, or the ink actually. Let's see if I can get my glue to come out. Just spread that out really thin. I'm just using tacky glue today. And I'm doing this first because this glue is going to need to dry completely before we can go on to the next step with this part. I think it's almost the end of my jar of tacky glue. Alright, so I've got this spread pretty evenly. And I'm going to use the shiny side of this in, because I don't want that to, I don't think it's going to show through, but you never know. The same thing on this one. And my tacky glue has gotten a little tackier and a little thicker than it normally would be because I've lost the cap for the nozzle on this bottle. Whoa, I didn't want quite that much. That's okay. So this is almost the consistency of quick grab tacky, actually. Okay, let's see if I can get some of that back in. Alright, spread it all the way to the ends. And we can even up our cuts when this is all dry. Now I'm going to actually take some more of these. I'm putting those, I'll explain that as soon as I get this clamp together. See if you can guess why I'm doing that while I'm clamping it, and then when I get done I'll explain it. You can see if you were right. I'm using jumbo craft sticks underneath my binder clamps. There's a hair on that one. The curse of having long hair, it gets everywhere. Okay. Alright, now that's all clamped. The reason I do that is so that these won't make a dent in this cardboard. So now this glue needs to set aside and it needs to get dry. And now we're going to work on our tile surface that will go on top of our tray. So what I have here is my Martha Stewart scoring board, and I know I've used this several times on videos. Here's a piece. And this is, I've actually made a boo-boo on the side, but that's okay, we're not going to use all the way at the edge. This is some glossy photo paper, and I got this package at Dollar Tree, so there were 8 sheets in it. So this can be a really inexpensive project. I'm going to start at a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to score my paper, if I can get this set up so that I can get a hold of it, every 1/2 inch. And yeah, I've made a boo-boo down here, but we only need a small piece of this when we're done. I'm doing the whole sheet. If it turns out well, then I can use the extra for another project. Whoops, that's crooked. I was not holding this down and paying attention. If it turns out well, I can get multiple projects out of it. If it doesn't turn out perfectly, I should have enough of a space that does turn out well. And I'm just going, like I said, every half inch all the way across. If you watch my Dollhouse Miniatures channel, you've seen me do this process before, but I wanted to do a project on this channel with this technique too. And I thought this would be really fun to do with both summer and Mother's Day coming up. With Mother's Day coming up, maybe the kids will want to make Mom a breakfast in bed, or maybe they just want to take some snacks out on the patio or something like that with this summer. Again, it's every half inch. So what we are getting is some wonderfully, and I'm using quite a bit of pressure. I'm not going hard enough to cut through, but I'm going hard enough that I'm getting a good impression, a good score line. This is a technique I picked up on one of my favorite card making channels, well, crafting and general crafting and card making channels. I will put a link to that channel in the description, or in the blog post. I'm all over the place today. I'm trying to work on way too many projects today. So we're going to continue to score till we get to the end. All right, put the folder away and pull this out. Now I have my parchment paper once again, and I have some distress inks. And I think I'm going to use Barn Door. Barn Door is a red, and I think that will be really pretty. And this is a water-based dye ink, so you want to be careful with getting these wet. I am going to seal this when I get done, but we're just going to run the block of ink across here. And you can see where I had a problem over there. And I think this looks better when you don't go too hard. The problem with pushing too hard is that sometimes it gets down in what we have left for grout lines. And it gives kind of a worn look to our tile. Kind of wish I would have known about this technique when I did my doll kitchen. This would have been cool for the backsplash behind the stove and sink. May have to redo that at some point. Alright, now this needs to dry. When this is completely dry and this glue is completely dry, we'll go on to the next steps. Alright, this is dried overnight, and I've now, actually I didn't admit yesterday, I wasn't really sure where I was going with this, and I have an air bubble. I did not get my glue on evenly. And that, well, that'll be covered. I got more glue stick today. So we are going to cover this with a wood grain paper, and I've cut some strips that I'm going to use for various parts. I have 4 pieces of foam core that are a 1/2 inch wide, and then I have 2 pieces of cereal box that are 1 inch wide. And these I want to score at a 1/2 inch. And that's going to take some pressure because face it, we're scoring poster, we're scoring cardboard here. But you'll You'll see why in just a second. Now I want to fold that in half. And it didn't score exactly in the middle, but that's okay. And I have some paper. I bought the only wood grain paper that the craft store had. So this is the one we'll use. And what we are going to do, we want the wood grain running the lengthwise of our board. We're going to glue this on so that we have about that much space. And I'm actually going to glue it on and then cut this out later. I think it works better for me. And since we've got the air bubble, I'm going to put the air bubble under our tile sheet that we made, because I think that will cover it better. I would have used glue stick yesterday, but I didn't have any. There. Now, put that off to the side. And I should cut this. I need to go cut this, so I'll be right back. All right, so I cut 4 strips, 1 3/4 and 2 at 1 1/2 inches. I'm going to take our little piece we did this with, open it out and put glue on it. We just need to cover these. Trying to keep it straight on the paper. Alright, now I'm just going to do one of these and then I will do the rest off camera. Because I don't think you need to stand here and watch me do this. My lights, I think, are drying my glue out faster than it normally would. I'm just going to roll this in the paper. Just so it matches, just so it looks like some wood. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do that with these other 3. Why do I have 5? With the rest of these, and when the glue is dry, I'll be back. Alright, so our glue is all dry, and now I'm going to roughly cut this out. Look at it. Because these edges are not going to show. So I'm going to cut this like this. I think I can do it with this glue. This is just going to, basically all we're doing, we want to cover this edge here with our paper. Let's do the other end first though. This will all make more sense once we go to the next step, I hope. I have to admit, when I started filming, all I knew was basically what I wanted my end result to be. I didn't really have a good plan of action yet. That has all come while I've been working. As I do one step, I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind how to accomplish the next step. And these corners, I mean, they should be neat, but they'll be as neat as they are. I know I have some more paper that I can put aside and use for another project. Now I have these guys. We're not going to glue these down yet, but I do want to cut them because I want to get the end done. And I'm going to have to figure out how to make, I'm going to have to cover the ends of those with some paper too. Oh no, I won't, because I'm going to make it mitered. So I'm cutting these even with the ends. Oops, where does that start? Start from here. Now, hopefully I'm getting a 45-degree angle here. Maybe a little bit. Let's see if that worked. Okay, we need to trim that a little more. I know what I need. Hold on. Alright, so this is one of those cutting rulers that you use for sewing. And this has a 45-degree mark on it. Yeah, I was off by quite a bit. Not an angle I can eyeball. Pretty close on that one. That's better. Now I can kind of fudge it with the paper. Alright, so that's too short now. Well, that means we'll set it in a little bit. It will be fine. Alright, I'm going to cut this. I cut. And I'm going to hold this one up to here so I get this the same. I had just one on my floor. And since it's the same paper as what is used there, it will just blend in. Now, we have these pieces. These are going to be our handles. And I don't want to leave the lid off of this. So, I want, let's see, this is I'm going to use, I want to put a little curve in this. I'm going to find the other one. Do the same thing. And yes, I am making this up as I go, so you're seeing the thought process I'm going through. All right. Now I know I want to have it come to about there and about there. And I want about that much curve on it, so I want this long. Got both handles the same. And I have these brads. These brads are left over from another project that we did here. And I've got an ice pick and I've got a catalog that I can pound down into. So, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go through this, put a hole where I want it. Now, I'm going to line that one up with this one. So I get this hole in the same place. Use that one to put the hole in this one. And I'm getting them approximately the same place. That one slid a little. If you're not doing this on camera, you can probably take time to, get this a little more careful. Yeah, this way. Now, we are going to go to the foam core, and I'm lining up the end of this with that. Again, I'm going to line this up with that. I thought of this method of putting the handles on last night, like in the middle of the night. Slightly longer brads would probably be better, but this is what we've got. Just use brads that you've got. Don't go out and buy special ones. And now, put this one on here. Yeah, the absolute total mystery to me when I started this project was how I was going to get what I was going to use for a handle and how I was going to fasten it to the project. Okay, there it is. There. And you can kind of bend these a little bit and get them. And if you don't feel like that's going to hold, then put some glue under there. Now, we need to cut this so that we've got our, so let's see, we've got, this paper needs to be cut back because the corners are going to show just a little bit. try cutting this. So let's cut off one. Let's cut to here. I'm trying to get a spot on here that is going to look nice. Halfway. Now let's see how this looks. That's going to look really cool. So we are going to glue this down. And this I'm going to glue down with some tacky glue. Oh, and I should have mentioned the tile sheet should be sprayed with a spray sealer before you do this step. And you need to do that outside. And you will need to use a spray, not a brush-on sealer. We don't need a lot of glue here because this is going to be mainly held down with our boards on the outside. So let's get this centered and let this dry. And when this is dry, I will come back. In fact, I'm going to set a couple of containers on here that I happen to have sitting here to hold that flat. When this gets completely dry, I'll come back. And I think I'm going to use my hot glue gun to put those on. So let's let this glue dry. Alright, so this has sat overnight. Now we've got that ready to go. So now we just need to figure out exactly where these are going to sit. I've got my glue gun hot over here to the side. I want to get an idea before I start. Okay, I think I know what I'm doing. We shall see. I don't use hot glue very often. I'm not a huge fan of the hot glue gun, but this is one of those cases where I really think it is the best option. And hopefully I'm getting this in the right spot. Yes, it does fit. Looks like I will need to go in with my craft knife and cut off that little extra edge there. That's okay. So there we go. We have a cute tiled serving tray for the dolls to use. I hope you enjoyed this project. Be sure and check the blog post. I'll have the measurements over there. If you make one of these, send me a picture of it. I'd love to see it. If you haven't checked out the Facebook page, the link is always in the description box below the video, and I'd love to have you come and join us over there and share your photos and just get some chatting going on. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.